two players on the Erskine volleyball team, Drew Davis and Juan Verona, came out as gay, and Erskine is, of course, a rural South Carolina college. So the team went on to play the top teams in the nation at the NCAA tournament, but the response of the college to learning that these volleyball players were gay is facepalm worthy. So they released a statement that says the following, quote, "Christ affirms that marital union is to be between a man and a woman. Between a man and a woman, the Bible teaches that monogamous marriage between a man and a woman is God's intended design for humanity, and that sexual intimacy has its proper place only within the context of marriage. Sexual relations outside of marriage or between persons of the same sex are spoken of in Scripture as sin and contrary to the will of the Creator." Let's pause here. You want to talk about the will of the Creator, asshole? You do know that there's over a dozen examples of polygamy in the Bible, right? So why are you only saying one man, one woman? That's the only one that counts. What about the examples of polygamy in the Bible? You don't have anything to say about that? Or do you not know that it's there because you didn't actually read the Bible? Which is it? It's in there and you're not acknowledging it. So what do you mean? How can you just pick one and not pay attention to the other? That doesn't make any sense. Or how about the parts of the Bible where men castrate themselves and live lives of celibacy? Why are you not advocating for that? That's in the Bible. Or how about when fathers sell their daughters off into sex slavery? Why are you not discussing that? That's in the Bible. You're cherry picking. You're focusing on one thing. You got one man, one woman, one man, woman, one man, one woman, one man, one woman. What are you talking? What about all the other examples of all the other things? You're leaving them out when it's totally pertinent and relevant to the conversation. But you're doing it just to snub these poor kids on the volleyball team. All right, they're not done. They say, "We believe the Bible teaches that all sexual activity outside the covenant of marriage is sinful and therefore ultimately destructive to the parties involved. As a Christian academic community, and in light of our institutional mission, members of the Erskine community are expected to follow the teachings of Scripture concerning matters of human sexuality, and institutional decisions will be made in light of this position." Think about how crazy that is. They're saying, for your sexuality, we are telling you, the students, to follow this book from thousands of years ago, which talks about how the earth is flat, talks about seven-headed dragons, talking snakes, and a guy who lived to the age of 900 putting every animal on a boat before the world flooded. Use that book for your guidance on sexuality. That one right there. I mean, this is something, this policy could have been written in the year 1600. This is a Dark Ages policy. They could just copy and paste right from the Dark Ages. Here, we found a policy from the Dark Ages. This is what we believe on the issue of sexuality. And they're saying we're going to make policy in the school about sexuality based on the Bible. Well, again, I go back to where's your polygamy standard? Where's your standard on cutting off your kibbles and bits? Where's your standard on selling daughters off into sex slavery? You ignore the parts you don't like. Now, they ended up banning homosexuality on campus. I find that hilarious. Like that sentence is even, that we can even speak to that sentence. They banned homosexuality on the campus because the volleyball players came out as gay. They banned homosexuality. As if like the players are sitting around and they're going, I changed my mind now. I changed my mind because the policy changed and I'm going to coincide with what the policy law is. We're good now. I'm straight now. I promise. You're not going to change them. Obviously, you're not going to change them. And all you're doing is reinforcing hatred, intolerance, and bigotry of a group of people who have already seen too much hatred, intolerance, and bigotry against them. And you're putting that as official school policy. So when I read this story, when I go through this story, you know what I think? The problem is not the volleyball players in this situation. It's not the kids who are being true to who they are. The problem is the school. You're the issue. You're the ones that need to change, not them. You're the ones that need to drag your asses into the year 2015 and look in the fucking mirror to figure out who's really immoral and who's really unethical. I'm tired of this nonsense, man. I mean, it's 2015 and we're still having conversations where schools, for their own policy, are quoting the fucking Bible on how they're gonna rule about people's lives. Well, it's none of your goddamn business. As long as it's consenting adults doing whatever they want and they're not hurting anybody else, it has nothing to do with you. But instead, you write a policy where you talk about how the Bible is great and the Bible's so right and fuck gay people. let me be clear, I blame these people, the schools like this, people like this who make these policy decisions. This is why you see a higher suicide rate amongst gay people, amongst the entire LGBT community. Because of societal and cultural dingbats like this who are so convinced that they're right because of the Bible that they're willing to act so wrong.